Jameis Winston made his case to be the Saints starter with his performance against the Jaguars last night. Former #1 overall pick made his first start since 2019, trying to be the guy who replaces Drew Brees in the Big Easy. Said after the game, quote, "I haven't started a football game in so long, man. So I was excited to just get an opportunity to start and lead the pack." Winston is battling it out with Taysom Hill. Hill got that deal in the offseason with the team. They flipped starting gigs the first 2 preseason games, and Sean Payton wasn't ready to commit to a starter after last night's result. You see how each guy did here. For Hill, did go 3-1 as a starter for Brees, as Brees was injured last year. Let's welcome in our NFL insider, Jason Canfora. So, Jason, let's focus on Jameis Winston for a moment here, making his case to become the Saints' next starting quarterback last night. What did you see in his second preseason game, his first start?
Continue to build on what he did in the first preseason game and continue to exhibit traits that, frankly, Taysom Hill just doesn't possess. Drew Brees did not possess the last 2 or 3 years of his career, and things that Sean Payton covets, the ability to push the ball downfield, between the hash marks, to push the ball downfield outside the hash marks. They've got an elite offensive line. They've got the ability to run the ball and beat you smash mouth. And now, with Jameis under center or in shotgun or whatever, they have the ability to force defenses to defend every quadrant of the field. Deep intermediate, deep middle, deep outside. And that's a huge change, and it's something Sean Payton covets, and it's something that Taysom Hill just doesn't provide. And all my reporting to this point has said I believe it's going to be Jameis Winston based on what he does, based on what I've gleaned from my conversations with Sean Payton. And last night was just even more indicative of that. Taysom Hill can do certain things in certain situations to help that football team win, including a lot of things on special teams. He cannot throw the kind of beautiful, pinpoint, deep balls that Jameis Winston can throw. And will they want him to do that as much as Tampa had him doing it? No. It's how you end up with 30 interceptions. But that element is something that the Saints badly need. Callaway looks like someone who can get downfield. They expect Michael Thomas back at some point. We know what he does, intermediate. And then you just flare a ball out to Kamara, and he might take it to the house. Jameis Winston provides elements that no one else on that roster has for a while. And that's why I believe he'll be their starting quarterback. He will get the bulk of the reps.
All right, so there are a handful of quarterback competitions, let's just say, and that is a close one in New Orleans. You think Jameis will be the guy. There's one that everyone thinks is not that close, and it's out of Jacksonville. Same game, Jason. Urban Meyer, they're still holding off on Trevor Lawrence being his guy. Maybe it's going to be Gardner Minshew, but of course we don't anticipate that to be the case. But from what we saw, too, and how Meyer is handling this situation, what are the chances he's doing more harm than good with his top overall pick?
I'm on record throughout the offseason as saying I continue to see significant red flags from this coaching staff and how they operate and what they've done from a personnel standpoint in their systematic sort of refusal to do much along the offensive line, keeping that group together, doubling down on running backs, not a ton of speed, not a ton of twitch. Last night, that young quarterback behind a terrible offensive line was living in 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 10. You do that in the regular season, problems will arise. Are they going to be willing to max protect? Are they going to be willing to play ugly football to live and fight another day rather than try to show this young man off and show all the cool things they could do with him booting out in his own end zone? I would say if I'm a Jags fan, I am concerned. If I represent Trevor Lawrence, I am concerned. They're going to have to come to the realization quickly that they don't have all the answers. They're not going to get all the answers in the next 3 weeks. That's a bit of a hodgepodge staff that admittedly is telling people in production meetings we're still trying to figure things out, melding college and pro. Well, you know what? Run the ball. Keep people off that young man's back while you figure it out. I'm just not sure they're inclined to do that. They weren't really inclined to do that last night. And I have yet to see anything coming out of that camp, going back to OTAs through now, that would inspire hope for that being a particularly smooth operation or that being a franchise that's ready to take any major steps forward. And that says nothing of Trevor Lawrence's ability, but I just seriously worry about the cast around him, including the coaching staff.
One more preseason game for both teams. Jason, I'll let you get out on this. Lamar Jackson, of course, MVP in 2019. We saw Josh Allen get his deal. You were at Ravens camp. What do we anticipate? What do we think about Jackson and that deal moving forward?
Well, look, if something gets done, it's likely to happen right on the eve of the start of the regular season, which is sort of go time for players, right? Am I going to take the bird in hand and get what I can now, or am I going to go out there and sort of risk it all week in, week out, knowing we're now 17 games, and that's a team that expects to go to the playoffs as well. This is an interesting dynamic because he doesn't really have traditional representation. There's family members involved. And the quarterback market, especially with that Josh Allen deal, has continued to soar, and Lamar does it a little bit differently than everybody else. But if you're asking me, one major thing I'm looking for between now and the start of the regular season, it is, do the Ravens reset their payroll structure, and do they maybe reset, once again, the top end of the quarterback spectrum with a Lamar Jackson deal worth in excess of, $42, $43 million a year. Maybe, maybe not, but if you're running the Baltimore Ravens, the sooner you have clarity and cost certainty on the quarterback position, the better.
Very quickly here to follow up on Jackson. Again, you were there. They're kind of handling him with what practice and media can do. What were your overall observations, Jason?
Well, I mean, the thing with Lamar is they don't have their left tackle, Ronnie Stanley. He just started to return to team drills this week. Until Ronnie Stanley's 100%, I don't think you're going to see Lamar Jackson in any sort of competitive situation going up against another team. The left side of the offensive line is really a makeshift hodgepodge, trying different guys at different positions to this point. And I'm not sure Ronnie Stanley's going to be ready to go this Saturday against the Washington defensive front that can be pretty beastly. If they don't have their left tackle, then we're probably not going to see Lamar, and that would mean no Lamar in the preseason at all.
That's the latest from our NFL insider. Jason, certainly appreciate it. Catch Jason La Canfora stuff here on CBS Sports HQ and CBSSports.com. Also want to let you know about the Pick Six podcast, host Will Brinson, the Super Friends John Breach and Ryan Wilson. We're getting ready, folks. Football season's here. They'll talk everything football, including picks and so much more.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.